What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So I'm going to give my predictions for game week 19 in the Premier League. We are officially going to be at the halfway point. Starting off with Leicester City against Manchester City. Man City 1 win in 13. Leicester have won in their last 3, lost all of them and conceded 10 goals while only scoring 1. Their new manager bounce has sort of faded now. Pep Guardiola is still very much not getting the best out of his Man City team, and it's kind of his own fault because he's not giving any of the young lads a chance. I don't think either team win this game. I've gone with a 2-2 draw. I just don't trust Manchester City defensively and in transition. For Kunde United players especially, I think Leicester have a good chance of getting something from this game. Obviously Vardy being injured is a big miss. And Man City will definitely score because Leicester can't defend. Crystal Palace against Southampton. Crystal Palace did lose their last home game 5-1, but that was against Arsenal. That is Crystal Palace's only defeat in the last 7 Premier League games though. However, Southampton did get a draw in their last outing, and that was also in London against Fulham. And they have looked a lot more defensively secure the last couple of games. They have only conceded 1 goal, but they have not scored any. And Crystal Palace do have a solid defence, and they've got Jean-Philippe Mateta up front. I do think Palace win this 3-1 at home. They really can't be affording not to win this. If they win, they'll get much further clear the relegation sort of dogfight. They shouldn't be down there anyway, but with the former Ismaila Sarri's in as well, I don't see how they don't win this. Everton against Nottingham Forest. This is a very interesting match. Both sides very, very defensively secure. Everton have only conceded 1 goal in their last 4 games. They've only lost 2 out of their last 13. They're unbeaten in 4, and that includes draws against Manchester City, Chelsea and Arsenal, which is fantastic. And a 4-0 win over Wolves. Nottingham Forest have won 4 Premier League games in a row for the first time in 30 years. They've been absolutely fantastic. Nuno Espirito Santo, you are doing a fantastic job. I am sorry for doubting you at the start of the season. With the game being at Goodison Park, Everton should be the team that look to attack a bit more due to them being the home team. I think Forest will be able to deal that really well. But Everton are just so toothless up front. If Ndiaye is injured as well, they have literally no goal threat, especially if McNeil isn't fit. I don't see any way in which they can even trouble the Nottingham Forest defence, unless maybe from set pieces. But even then, Forest have improved so much in that aspect with the addition of Milenkovic and Murilla's improvement in the air as well. Going the other way, Nottingham Forest, if they get a counter-attack, they are going to be dangerous because they actually have some good attacking players. And for that reason, I've gone with a 1-0 Forest win. I think it will be a bit cagey, a bit defensive, but they'll get the job done and they will win 5 games in a row in the Premier League. Fulham against Bournemouth, this is going to be a very good game, I think. It's a battle between 2 of the high-flying teams in the league, along with Nottingham Forest, a class of 22, doing very well in this season of Premier League. Both managers are fantastic. I just think Marco Silva is the most underrated manager in the league because his name never seems to come up when you talk about these bigger jobs that are available. You hear about Thomas Areola's been linked with Tottenham and stuff. You never see Marco Silva's name linked to him. I don't really understand why. He's very good, very adaptive. And speaking of Areola as well, he is brilliant. I love how he's got Bournemouth pressing, how they can get the ball from defence to attack really quick. I think in terms of a tactical battle, this is probably the best in the whole game week. It's going to be a very good game for a neutral to watch. Obviously, I do hope Bournemouth win, and I'm going to back them to get the job done. 2-1 for Bournemouth, hopefully. Please, Cherries, get it done. They are unbeaten in 6 games, and they've won their last 3 away games on the trot. Let's make it 4 Bournemouth. Come on, lads. For Fulham, they got a huge derby win over Chelsea last game, a brilliant result for them. Obviously, following on from their great derby win over Brentford a few weeks ago. You know, they might have a little bit of a hangover from that, or they could use it as momentum. It's really up to them. I just think Bournemouth are maybe slightly more suited to away games just because of how direct their attack is. They don't really have like a playmaker that can play in between the lines. Tottenham Hotspur against Wolves. Wolves are in fantastic form. They've won their last 2 games since Vitor Pereira has come in. Kept clean sheets in both of them. Tottenham, for a horrible 4-man roster, probably really should be under a lot more pressure than he is under. I know Tottenham have a lot of injuries, but there's no excuse for him to not change the way he plays. And I think that's going to be to his detriment in this game as well. I think Wolves win 3-2. It's going to be a lot of goals Tottenham will score because their attack is still very good. Wolves, despite being very good defensively in the last couple of games, won't be able to keep a clean sheet against Tottenham, especially not away from home. But they'll score 3 goals because Tottenham will have to use Bissouma and Gray at the back, who are both midfielders. You know what I mean? And Spence is suspended, so Porro's going to be playing at right back. He's going to get absolutely roasted by Matheus Cunha. That's going to be one of the most devastating matchups of the week. It's going to be so embarrassing for Pedro Porro. Dan Larson is on 6'4" against Bissouma and Gray. I know Gray is kind of tall, but he's only 18. He's not physically built like a centre back. He will probably get dominated, and Bissouma definitely will get dominated in the air. If they win here, again, they get quite far clear the relegation zone, which is mental. I don't know why Postecoglou's getting such a free pass from Tottenham fans. Like, I get he plays attacking football, but it's suicidal. Like, you can't defend, you've got no defenders, so why don't you play a bit more defensive and try and give them some cover? It makes no sense. Then he benches his best player every week in James Maddison. He's the only player that can play in between lines, the only one that can play those line-breaking passes, yet he's on the bench all the time. It's just stupid. West Ham United against Liverpool. Tough one here. West Ham actually in quite good form. They're unbeaten in the last 4 games. Liverpool, obviously, we know how well they're doing. They've only lost once all season, and they're unbeaten on the road still. I think this is actually going to be a really tough game for them, though. I don't really know why I do. I just have a feeling West Ham have got something. And this could be horribly wrong. I've gone with a 2-2 draw. It could be 5-1 to Liverpool if West Ham play where they're having something. But in recent weeks, they've looked more solid defensively. They also have a big threat up front with Bowen, Kudus, Somerville. And Bowen against Robertson especially can be a complete mismatch in my opinion. Liverpool haven't looked quite so solid defensively the last few games. They have conceded quite a lot. West Ham do have some injuries at the back though. Fabianski obviously suffered a head injury last game. Hopefully it's not too serious. Philbin also got an injury. So, you know, it could play a bit of a part, but I don't know why I think it's going to be a draw. I really don't like Lopetegui, but I think he has got something in it. Aston Villa against Brighton. Brighton haven't won in 6 games now. Villa have won 3 out of the last 5, although they were heavily beaten at St James's Park last week. Duran is obviously going to be suspended. You can see so for Brighton, if he plays as bad as he did against Brentford, don't even bring him to the squad because he looks so rusty. He's only 20 as well, but just doesn't look like the same player he was a couple of years ago. Obviously, it could just be a bit of rust because he has had a few injuries and stuff. But he does need to be significantly better, especially with decision making and his passing as well. He kept kicking the ball out of play. At Villa Park, I am backing Villa to get the job done. I've gone with a 2-1 win. I think Villa won 6-1 here last season against Brighton. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be quite that convincing. Ollie Watkins should have had a decent enough rest now. He hasn't played a lot over the last couple of games because of how good Duran's been. And he will be a huge miss for Aston Villa, especially considering Lewis Dunk is back in the Brighton team and he is just horrendous. But to be fair, Brighton are a lot better against the teams that aren't down bottom end of the table, so they might actually win this, but I'm backing Villa today. Ipswich down against Chelsea. Ipswich are the only team that haven't won at home all season. Chelsea have only suffered 1 defeat on the road, although they did lose their last game. Chelsea also have the luxury of just being able to rotate every player in their team and not seeing too much of a drop-off, so I think Chelsea win this 3-1 shouldn't really be an issue for them. They do need to win if they are in a title race. Ipswich did quite well against Arsenal, they were very defensive. It's quite like an Everton performance, but obviously their defence isn't quite as good. At home, they can be a bit open at times, and I think Chelsea should be able to take advantage of that, although Liam Delap will probably be able to score here. Manchester United against Newcastle United. Man United have lost 3 games in a row. Newcastle have won 3 games in a row. Newcastle also haven't conceded a single goal in the Premier League in that time, and they're scoring for fun. They scored, 11 goals in that time? They've been brilliant. Alexander Isak scored in 5 games in a row. Anthony Gordon's getting his mojo back. Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali are forming a formidable partnership in the midfield. They've been the best midfielder in the league this season, in my opinion. And despite that Newcastle don't really win at Old Trafford, they did win 3-0 in the Carabao Cup here last season, and I think they win 3-0 again. I don't think they're going to have any issues here at all. Isak's too good, especially with Manuel Ugarte being suspended for Manchester United. That is huge. He's been fantastic in that midfield for them. Bruno Fernandes suspended as well. I think that's actually a good thing for them because he's useless. And finally, Brentford against Arsenal. Brentford suffered their first defeat at home last time against Nottingham Forest. They did get a draw against Brighton, but they still win this away from home. However, they are at home here, but they have won 7 out of 9 games. I don't think that continues here. I'm backing Arsenal to get the job done. 3-1 to the Gunners, especially considering Brentford's defensive woes. Flecken got injured last game, although their backup keeper did come in and do really well. They've also had to play, I think, a 20-year-old centre-back who had never played for the club before. He did well against Brighton, to be fair to him, but Arsenal's a different case, isn't it? Against Kai Havertz, who is a big guy. Hopefully we see Declan Rice playing a bit further forward with Thomas Partey in the 6. And if that happens, I don't see any reason why Arsenal can't win this fairly comfortably, especially because they won the last London derby away from home. 5-1 against Crystal Palace. This is my prediction this week. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.